Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Gardens of Golshan. I am your dungeon master, Liza. With me here are our amazing players, and before we go ahead and jump into tonight's episode, I'm just gonna have them quickly go around and introduce themselves. Starting right over here.
Hello, my name's Ainsley, and I play a bugbear paladin named Zozo Ba'ab, who worships the gods of music, art, and letters while being unable to really do any of those things himself. He's full of enthusiasm, love, and has giant arms.
Hi guys, my name is Justin. I'm playing the character Corvelle Benoit, who has been traveling as a performer for years, generally avoiding his responsibilities to his noble family, but has recently been called back and asked to attend this wedding on their behalf because my father recently died. And upon doing that, I ran into all my old art school friends who also went on adventures together and maybe have weird darkness in their past. Yeah, that's me.
Hey, I'm Anastasia. I play the character Muhaka, who, according to some, aka one person, might as well be a goddess of music. She was made for one thing and one thing only, which is, as I said, to play music. She is, very porcelain-like, long, gangly arms. Elegant arms, but very stubby feet. And she just came here to entertain and has gotten dragged on along as the adventure, as it always has been since art school.
It's my turn, right?
Uh-huh.
I am Nikki. I'm playing Chastity. She's a tiefling warlock. She's got big curls that hide her horns, and she's quite sassy and likes to get up to any kind of mischief because it's entertaining. And she's visiting here because she would not miss the wedding of the century. And also, it was an additional ability to tease her twin brother who just got a job here. And, one cannot pass up an opportunity to be a thorn in one's side.
Yeah, and speaking of, yes, hello, I'm Reed. I'm playing Belief, the aforementioned brother of Chastity, also, of course, a tiefling, ex-fighter, now a wizard, sort of. And yes, I am here because I work here, sort of. I am supposed to be tutoring the bride-to-be in magic / swordplay / I don't know, I haven't really actually started that job yet. Anyway, so yes, I am here with my Raven Familiar proof, my one missing leg, and a decanter of endless water. We'll see where we go from there.
Yes, as a few players have mentioned, we are indeed at a wedding, an elaborate wedding between the last living scion of a famous noble house, famous for being heroes of the people, and the last living son of a fabulously wealthy merchant empire. He has used his fabulous wealth to rebuild the crumbling castle of his bride-to-be's forebearers. But it seems that this palace, Golshan Palace, and its famous gardens hide a few sinister secrets that our adventurers have seemingly been called together by fate to deal with. On the first night of the celebrations, the mother of the bride was transformed by foul magic into a horrifying creature, undead, arcane in nature, which attacked the guests, only put down by our brave heroes jumping into action. And they have since agreed to sort of look into her death and have figured out that she wasn't the one who was supposed to die at all. It was in fact her daughter, who was supposed to be in that place at that time. And they have begun to suspect that Lady Petra may still be in danger. Last night, they went to the greenhouse of Lady Suad, the woman who died, looking for clues, and were attacked by living animated plants. Deciding that 2 battles in one evening was quite enough to be getting on with, we rejoin our heroes the next morning. I think at this point you are all sitting in the great banquet hall. It's a little stuffy this morning. It's quite warm out. And normally you believe that this sort of meal would probably take place out on the veranda where you were last night. But of course, given the events of last night, it seems in poor taste to revisit that locale. So instead, you are all sitting around in the Great Hall. It's clearly been sort of cleaned out overnight and made ready for this. And so there are still a few signs of the ongoing construction that are sort of omnipresent in the palace, but usually in the areas where the guests and the nobility are going to be have been pretty nicely tidied away. Up at the high table on the dais, you can see Lady Petra seated next to her soon-to-be, perhaps, husband, Kian Azuras, and a few other familiar faces that you recognize from last night's events. You see the paladin Jethan sitting moodily eating his breakfast. You see Zareen standing, looking very prim and proper behind her mistress, and then a few other people sort of flitting about. Actually, and we begin, Muhaka, with you. In a dining hall full of people eating and drinking, what are you getting up to?
Well, given that I do not eat or drink, I am just sitting there awkwardly staring at people. Well, not staring blatantly, but observing them thoughtfully.
And as you are sitting there, a figure that you recognize slips into the seat across from you, kind of not coming very high above the table as she sits in the seat, and then you kind of see her kind of try and sit up to the very fullest height she can. She is a halfling, so sitting in this chair is, maybe a little bringing her down a little bit, you might say. We see her. She has a deep brown skin, multiple piercings on her ears and nose, extremely fine clothing. You recognize this woman as the merchant Nasrin Dalia, who spoke to you the night before and seems to know your creator. And she sort of lounges into the chair, a cup of coffee in one hand. Well,
Muhaka takes a moment to continue observing everything else before she then moves her head where it's obviously now facing her. I suppose I should have expected you would come to speak with me soon.
Is there something you have been doing that you think I would be interested in?
Clearly there is something that I'm doing if you are approaching me.
Yes, wise and very skillfully made. I hear that you have been given access to certain parts of the castle.
If it is necessary, yes.
I hear you have already made good use of this access. You were in Lady Suad's greenhouse last night, were you not?
We were, yes. Well, less given access, as we puzzled out how to access it ourselves.
She leans forward conspiratorially and lowers her voice, so the people sitting nearby can't hear. She says, I wonder if you happened to find any of Lady Suad's research. I am certain that compensation could be arranged if you were willing to let it fall into my hands.
Well, it's a tricky proposition.
Is it? I think it's quite simple.
Perhaps I would be tempted if you tell me do you have any interest in interfering with my master's work?
Interfering? No, not at all.
Or through any actions, directly or indirectly, affect him in any way that would be unfortunate.
No more unfortunate than the normal actions of the free market, my dear.
I will think about it.
I am a businesswoman, not a criminal. You need not worry. And she stands up, says, you have a way to reach me once you have made your decision. But hurry.
Mm-hmm. Enjoy your morning.
She nods and walks away, sort of this long scarf that she has over one shoulder trailing along the floor behind her as she walks. What's everyone else doing at this breakfast?
So I think Corvelle specifically shows up late to the breakfast. I think probably everyone's seated. You guys would know from our old days that mornings aren't really Corvelle's thing. And I think he probably should have known, but just messed it up and did not think that this was a everyone breakfast. So I think he's probably not dressed as nice as he should. He probably still has his shirt that he sleeps on in with his pants pulled up and his boots just barely thrown on. And I think he sort of walks out and sees the table laid out and has that moment of wanting to just turn around and walk away, but then just loudly says hello everyone, and then looks for an open seat probably beside his old friends.
Yeah, definitely finds one.
Chastity, Belief. I don't even think we got to properly say hi yesterday.
Oh, I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay. Belief.
I'm sorry.
I have an entrance.
Fair. Yeah. That's fair. I'm there. I was there first.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was there first.
Do you say that to me?
No, I don't think I say anything. I just sort of, I'm wearing the the sort of house blues and with the crest of the house here and everything, and I've all kind of done up with glasses, hair, everything's business. So just sort of looking at your untucked shirt and not saying anything, but just very much
You look put together. Have I missed anything?
Not as of yet, but I think that we should be extra prepared today of all days. Would you not agree?
It's well, I can't imagine today could it be any more eventful than yesterday was. I mean,
we've talked about saying that sort of thing.
Saying it doesn't make it come into fruition.
Anyway, whatever. Can I help you this morning?
I thought you were the least superstitious out of all of us, but how have you been?
This has been a trying period of time, as I imagine you could deduce on your own.
This weekend or the last 10 years?
Since we parted company. I'm sure you understand. I am sorry to hear about your father, of course.
It's fine.
Anyway, let us not delve too into that. I've been doing some thinking on what has happened and what might actually be at play here.
I always trust you to be on the case.
Yes, well, I've had to pick up a little bit of the slack in terms of knowing things, haven't I?
we still think it's the Yanti, right? I mean, he said. Corvelle says and turns and smiles at you.
Yeah, that I find that unlikely, given what we have determined thus far. And now I do grant. I'll give you this. One of the languages that was used for this ritual is one of the languages that the UNT speak, I think. But if he was the one who created this trap, why would he have been standing right there on stage with it right then? And why this random person? It just seems like a setup to me. Like, why would he be right there, right when it goes off? Happens to be one of the people who, let's be real here. I think people are inclined to view the UNT with suspicion. It seems, like I said, a setup of sorts.
Corvelle will sort of look at you and again smile even bigger, and he'll say, I don't know what you're talking about at all. I am just a simple noble by birth who believes what he's told. And then he'll sort of stand up and walk around the table, and I'll grab some fruits from some random people, and I'll start juggling as he starts walking down the length of the table, just sort of saying his hellos and trying to make light of his disheveled appearance.
Yeah,
at that moment, Chastity comes walking into the hall, and she's people notice her walk in. And she's fully dressed. It looks like she's been up for hours and out doing whatever. And she goes like this and beckons behind her. And this guy, young kid, he's probably 19, 20, is carrying a giant shrub. And she beckons to Mahaka, and she goes, put it down in front of her. And then she says, thanks so much. And then she looks at Mahaka and she's like, did you still want to talk with plants? I pulled this up from near the greenhouse. Not inside of it, near it. Because I burnt the ones before, so I wanted to say sorry.
It is very hard to read Muhaka's expression because she's got this mask. There might be sudden... Even though there's no change in her expression, you can certainly feel her eyes narrow. It's just this feeling, it's very intense feeling of narrowed eyes.
And there's a settling of dirt as the root balls loosen their clump all over the table.
Chastity, as you can see, there are others here. I would rather not do this in front of a live audience.
Do you want me to kill them? I'm just kidding.
It is very important which plant I speak to because I need one that was, within viewing distance of what happened. Perhaps the tree.
It was next week. Why?
It was...
I just tried to help.
I very much appreciate it. Perhaps you can accompany me to the greenhouse in case anything else happens.
Fine. And then she snaps her fingers and beckons for the guy to come pick it up and can you put this back? I don't need it anymore.
He says,
who is that?
Yes, of course. And then I will come right back. And he
Sure.
smiles kind of hopefully.
Thank you so much, Timothy.
He sort of scampers off. You hear a couple of people nearby being I thought it was more customary to bring flowers to someone you're suiting. A couple of people I don't know. Perhaps it is a custom from a foreign land. Kind of hear them all murmuring amongst each other.
Meanwhile,
It doesn't seem you have forgotten how to make your entrance.
Oh no.
Or how to make an entrance.
Thank you.
This whole time, Zozo has just been sitting. He has a mountain of dumplings sitting in front of him that he's slowly been just working his way through. 4 to 5 different dipping sauces are around, and he just takes them one by one and he's mixing them. He doesn't really realize that he's probably grossing some people out around him with his like big nails, but he's just continuing to do it. And he's been watching the antics. Don't get dirt my sauce. He's concerned that there might have been dirt in his sauce. Real creamy. Real creamy. Get dirt there.
Zozo, it's good for you. It's iron. Dirt has iron. It makes you strong.
Oh, wait.
That is not how that works.
Yeah, don't listen to chat.
No.
Don't.
Yes. Probably. It's not untrue.
You know what? Zozo threw away this sauce. Zozo kind of had it.
Yeah, good plan there, Zozo. Just don't.
Tastes bad.
Chastity.
What?
Really, your system is very inefficient for processing dirt.
Yeah, it's inefficient. It doesn't mean that it's not possible. I'm just saying it wasn't a lie.
Corvelle.
Zozo not always know
Yes.
with Chastity what is lie, what is truth, what is nice story.
Corvelle is trying as
It
hard
is
as he
safe
can.
to assume. Assume lies and then figure out the truth.
Corvelle's trying as hard as he can to like distract all of the like more fussy nobles away from his more colorful friends and making jokes about how like they know how to invite the right crowd for a party and like that sort of stuff.
You definitely see the reaction of the nobles is split half between like, this is terribly inappropriate given that a woman has just died, and half of them are like, yeah, that seems about right. And definitely in the former camp, you see Zareen kind of looking down at you from the dais like, what are you doing? And you see her kind of like motion with her head as
I'll just sort of wave at it.
as there is a sudden hush falls over the room. Kian and Petra sort of stand up together. And Petra kind of looks over at Kian and he sort of nods and she rearranges the sort of hair falling over her shoulders and I thank you all for being here. I am certain that you have questions about what has happened and what will happen. My mother is dead, but I feel that it would be her wish for this wedding to continue. Kian is now the only family that I have left. And I think it is important to celebrate life in addition to remembering those who are gone from us. We will make arrangements for both the wedding ceremony and a ceremony of remembrance for my mother and her accomplishments. I ask that all of you bear with us as we modify our plans. We will still, of course, make the traditional observances. And thank you. You see her kind of like fail for words and sort of like give a curt nod and sit back down. And Kian kind of continues where she left off, sort of talking about the schedule of events and things that will be ongoing. And you can kind of see Petra like lets her hair fall forward and obscures her face. She's
Zozo whispers, but it's too loud. Lady's sad. Lady seems sad. Do you think she's sad?
Yeah.
Ohaka very gently squeezes Zozo's arm. Like,
Sorry, I'll be quiet.
Yes.
This whole time, Chastity's sitting there with her dagger, like cleaning out her fingernails. Like she's looking polite, but she can't quite not be an asshole.
Nobody expects any more from her, really.
It's a special talent that only my sister. Yeah. Also, in other news, Corvelle, sit down.
Has Corvelle finally deigned to join us?
Yeah, he's made a circle around the table. He'll sit back down with you guys for sure.
Okay.
Well, I've wanted to say hi to Lady Petra, but I'm afraid it's hard to find the words at this moment.
No, but the words must be found. Belief, have you spoken with her about the danger she is still in?
In brief, but I don't think she was really in a state to comprehend last night. It is my intention to speak to her again after breakfast has concluded.
Well, then, if she is not in a state of mind to even protect herself, I suggest you speak to Kian. He seems to have her best interests at heart.
Perhaps.
It's always the husband.
I say only
Just
if
saying,
she
it's
cannot.
like statistically, it's usually the husband.
Is usually husband what?
That's the murderer or the murder intender, the violence doer.
Okay, now Zozo, I know you're going to want to say something in a second. Quietly.
Oh, okay. Zozo can't. He's keeping quiet. You mean husband kill lady? Oh,
People are sort of looking around at this point, like, what?
Just as because I saw this coming, just as Zozo's saying that, I cause a sound of chairs scraping on the floor right near us. Minor illusion, just like.
You mean at the same time that Muhaka gets up and actually scrapes her chair?
Perfect. Yeah. Hey, lend some credibility to it. But yeah, anyway, just drown that out a little bit.
I suggest we convene somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys get up to leave, and at the same time, you see Petra leaving the hall as well, in the opposite direction, and you see Zareen and Jethan with her as they're sort of walking out of the hall. But you head out. Where would you like to go?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, a moment though. I was serious there. If possible, I'd like to sort of head those three off and speak to Petra for a moment before we split.
Yeah, you sort of run to catch up. You can see that the three of them are deep in conversation, but sort of the one leg kind of clanking as you walk, you manage to catch up to the three of them.
Yeah, I was just stumping along with my staff. But as I go, I look at Corvelle. I'm like, did you want to say something?
A condolence, perhaps.
Okay, do you want me to deliver that, or did you?
It's like, when have I ever needed you to talk for me?
Whatever, just let me... Fine, come on. Anyway, go to run to catch up. Well, catch up.
Yeah, you catch them just as they're crossing the courtyard outside of the Great Hall. And, they all three sort of turn to look at you.
Yeah, and just Lady Petra, please, a moment, if you would.
I am afraid I do not have time for lessons today.
No, not... That is not what this is about. I wish to update you on what we believe to be the situation, as we understand it.
Perhaps, Zareen kind of cuts in. There are servants and other guests sort of flitting around the courtyard. She says, perhaps this is not the best place for such a conversation, sir. I can certainly make an appointment for you with her ladyship. She has, and she kind of pulls out a little scroll. She has some time early in the afternoon, if that would be convenient.
I just sort of give her a look over the top of my glasses and say, seeing as this is quite literally a matter of death, don't you suppose you can move that up a bit?
Petra says, it's really no trouble, Zareen. And she beckons you, and you kind of walk, and she just sort of pulls you into a corner of the courtyard, like under a tree, and sort of looks over at Zareen, and Zareen, like, puffily. You can see her tail sort of twitching in agitation. And Jethan has also sort of crossed his arms at this point. He says, I will meet you, Petra, and walks off.
Okay, so after... No, assuming that there's nobody like right nearby, so we can talk sort of privately. Other than Corvelle, Corvelle's fine.
No, you guys go do your thing.
Fair enough. Anyway, so right. So once we have a moment, I say, Lady Petra, again, my condolences. I'm not the best with words amongst my companions, but I mean that sincerely. That being said, I did want to talk to you about what we suspect is going on here. First, if I may hazard a guess about something, I hope you don't mind. I'm familiar with at least the basics of your. Is there would I be right to assume that there is a difference between you and your mother? Perhaps you inherited something that she did not? Something to that effect?
As she would have said, I favor my father.
I see. Our best guess at this point is that what happened to your mother was intended for you. Because given, as you say, that you favor your father. We do not have all of the pieces yet, but the theory is that what happened was probably designed to work on someone with your properties, I suppose might be the best word for it.
Someone of my bloodline, you mean?
Yes. This is... there's certainly sort of blood right involved in what is happening here based on my translation of the spell work. Given that is the case, it seemed best that we informed you directly that most likely you are still being targeted. I don't expect that whoever attempted this ritual would let this opportunity pass them entirely. They will most likely try again somehow.
I see.
I'm not telling it. Please, I'm not telling you this to alarm you. I'm telling you this because I believe that when you have lost somebody, you should have a chance to have a hand in setting that right. And of course, also, it would be wrong to not tell you that you are still in danger. I don't know exactly to what degree you wish to actually be involved in this, but I just wanted to tell you that I am ready to assist you in whatever way you would prefer to proceed.
Well, have you figured out who is doing this?
We don't know. We have information, a little information about what they tried to do, but if we knew more about perhaps if we knew more about the origin of this place, that might help. There's at least some information that indicates that there might be something bound to the land here. I don't know if you would know anything about that, or know where we might be able to find that information.
There were mentions of something like that in my father's journal. My mother just gave it to me, a wedding gift. She said, "I will find it for you. It is in my rooms."
I see.
Perhaps it will be helpful. I think. And she sort of turns to Zareen and says, "Zareen, you should make arrangements for Belief and his companions to join me for the ritual this evening." And Zareen kind of bristles again and says, "My lady, that is highly unlikely. It's highly unusual. Certainly, they are men." And she kind of looks at you, and then Petra says, "I understand it is not customary, but I wish that you make these arrangements. And you kind of see her draw her shoulders up and point her nose up in the air. You've probably seen Corvelle pull this out a few times. The like, I am a noble and you will listen to me stance. And Zareen, after a moment of like, clearly like, no, I will have my way, kind of breaks. And she says, very well, my lady, I will make the arrangements. And she turns to you as Petra sort of nods. She says, you and I and your friends, that afternoon slot, we will have a discussion about the decorum for our traditions. And she sort of nods. And Petra says, yes, my apologies. I really must be going. I have so many guests to attend to. And she turns and begins walking away with Zareen in tow, who casts another look over her shoulder like, I don't know, it's not a very nice look that she gives you, but it's not necessarily immediately decipherable. If you want to try and get a read on her mental state, you are welcome to make an insight check.
While he's making that roll, Corvelle will just say, don't worry, Zareen, I've played a woman many times on stage. I'll make sure the belief is in ship shape by the evening.
Wow.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That would be 11.
Yeah, she definitely looks annoyed and frustrated. But beyond that, it's hard to read. Her dragonborn face is, not necessarily the most conducive to reading. Doesn't have sort of a similar arrangement to what you're used to trying to figure out. But yeah, the two of them make their way in the same direction that Jethan had just gone.
If you spend some time interacting with one other person that you know who doesn't have facial expressions, maybe you'd be a little better at figuring out facial expressions. Who knows?
I don't know what you mean.
So, Chastity, Muhaka, Zozo, what are you guys getting up to? Or are you just waiting for the two of them to come back?
I don't know if he's around, but I would like to speak with Javed.
Yeah,
the captain of the guard.
He's not necessarily right there, but the courtyard where the guards sort of marshal is not far away. And as you're exiting the great hall, you can hear familiar tones sort of calling out familiar patterns. And you start making your way over there, and you see him just finishing up, clearly like assigning postings for the day to his guards. And we see sort of this scene as you walk up, this large armored bugbear walking up to this halfling man who probably comes just above his knees with very stylish blue dyed hair, and he sort of looks up and says, Zozo Ba'ab, to what do I owe this honor?
Javed, Zozo want to say thank you for invite. Zozo already seen a lot of great art. Seen some statue, an old thing.
Yes, I know you are a great enthusiast. Sadly, most of the truly excellent pieces are still in the wing that have yet to be restored. Frankly, I cannot tell you. This construction is taking much longer than I would think it ought to. Normally, I would say Mordat is an excellent manager, but these workers that she has found are an unruly lot.
Oh, that bad. They using sacred things should not be bad people, unruly guys. I hear there is a beautiful mural here by my namesake.
Yes, I believe there are several paintings by this artist, if the Firbolg painter is he not?
Yes, Ba'ab Raz.
Yes.
Fine painter, landscape.
Yes.
Zozo take his name when he make vow and oath to gods of art.
I remember you relating this story to me before, but tell me, my friend, apart from discussing the world of art, is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah, we kind of examined when Lady died. You know this, right?
Yes, my patron did inform me that you were to be handling the investigation. If there is any way I can be of assistance.
Yeah, you know Snaky Man?
Yes, the UNT man, yes.
Yeah, Snaky Man. What happened to him?
He is in custody. He has been detained inside a room in the unfinished tower. It was the most secure location we had available.
Okay, level with Zozo. Is Snaky Man bad?
I have not yet had a chance to interview him personally. I know that Sir Jethan took the opportunity last night. But, I do not believe so. He seemed very cooperative when we were putting him in our custody. And my hope is that he will have information for us, as he was the closest to Lady Suad who has survived. In proximity, of course, not in relation.
Oh, they not good friend?
Not as far as I know, my friend.
Okay. Zozo just wonder. Hey, also, what are chances Zozo can talk to Snaky Man?
If you
Maybe
wish.
Zozo friends can talk better than Zozo. Maybe we chat.
Of course. I believe that there are a few excellent pieces in the same floor there where he is being kept. I do not know the state of their restoration, of course, but 2 birds, 1 stone, yes.
I don't know what that means, but I like to see a painting and also talk to a Snaky Man.
Oh, the painting is called 2 birds, 1 stone.
Oh, beautiful. I love nature painting. Zozo love. Yes, please, I see these and also talk to Snaky Man. Any questions about a dead lady?
Yes, he gives you directions to where to find the detained Yuan Ti dancer.
I think Zozo might like to take some friends with him.
Yeah, of course. You guys all meet back up at this point. What would you like to do?
So quickly on the walk back to wherever we're going, I think Corvelle would say to Chastity, like walk up beside Chastity and just say thank you.
What?
I think your entrance made mine look not nearly as bad, so I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. Happy to make you look better. What
Rarely
even
that's the case.
What are you even doing dressed like a homeless person down here?
It's like,
Did you get kicked out of the family when your father died?
I kind of chose to leave. I chose to leave a
You
long time
packed?
ago, though. And they're trying to fold me back into it now.
Well, what are you gonna do? Stay gone?
It's like, I don't know yet, to be honest with you. This whole weekend has been really tough. I have no idea what to do. But I gotta say, I agree on one thing. I also don't trust the groom. Do you really think
Oh!
that?
Absolutely. It's always the husband. Men are not to be trusted.
Well,
No offense.
Well, none taken. But he particularly rubs me the wrong way. I just don't like him, to be honest with you.
Yes, I don't like him or his brother. Is his brother the paladin? Cousin?
No, the paladin is the bride's cousin.
Oh, not related to that guy. Never mind. I just assumed the men all belong to each other.
Still an ass.
Maybe they
I
do.
know humans look all the same to you, but
I don't get it. Yeah.
it's
Anyway,
like, listen, if you ever feel the need to do something risky or dangerous,
always, yes, let's do
it
it.
involves finding out what the deal with this guy is. You know,
Absolutely. I don't trust him. Did you see the way that that they were arguing at the beginning of the wedding, or when we first got here?
Yeah, and I don't know. The banners seem showy to me. He doesn't seem like he's their type. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't even seem like they get along.
Right, that's exactly what I'm saying. And so it's like if you were to start by restoring this place to its opulent glory, you're going to start with banisters. It just seems like a drastic waste of money if you're planning on taking this whole thing and turning it into the glory it once was. So maybe he's lying and he's just doing like little sprinkles of things. I don't know. But I don't like him.
And we should figure it out.
So, shenanigans is what you're saying?
Yeah, shenanigans. Yeah. And so then, we can go to where I'm going.
Yeah, I guess we go.
It sounds like there are two proposed courses of action. One is going to... No, I'm just asking. One is going to talk to the Yuan-Ti prisoner, and the other is trying to, in some manner, find out some more information about Kian Azras. Would you guys like to do one of those two things first, or would you like to split up and tackle them at the same time?
Split the party.
Yeah, it's the strongest tactical decision right there, I think.
I would be happy to visit the unfinished tower. I'm just saying, like, this is just like a sidebar, like, scheme that might be a brewing in the background.
Yeah, the unfinished
Well,
tower.
Muhaka is
We can go together.
very much the get the information from people, plants, dead bodies. Doesn't really matter. She's just here to get the information.
Yeah.
So you propose we kill the groom?
I didn't say that.
Conclusions.
It seems like Muhaka and Chastity would be for that plan.
For what?
Killing the groom.
Why Muhaka said...
Can you help here? Voice of reason.
I never said that we should kill the groom. I said that I believe the groom actually cares for the well-being of Petra in a very awkward way.
So the
So,
opposite
no.
of what we said.
Yes, I believe that you are just projecting your dislike onto a person and judging based off of that.
Wow. Deep.
Muhaka, you always know how to make me feel bad about myself. Just like
well,
Chastity.
that is
Yeah,
the only
they
way.
got a real knack.
Oh, belief. Was that some passive aggressiveness that I just heard?
No, not at all. Anyway, now that we all agree, shall we go talk to UP?
Look, if there is something you wish to say, I prefer you say it because I do not enjoy feeling like I am walking on glass every time you are around.
Please do not feel that way. We're working together. This is professional. Let's just not talk about things that don't relate to this case.
I think your feelings about each other do relate to the case, just because you want to be able to trust each other and know that you have each other's backs. So, belief, you should probably open up a little bit. And she just kind of like smiles, very pleased with herself.
Being glared at by both proof and belief. He like is real, like.
I have accepted the parts that I've played. I have done my part to make up for my actions. I have grown past it.
Grown past it, you say? As
Yes.
in, is that this is in the past. Still needs to be done.
Sorry, say that again?
So this is in the past now. There's nothing else.
No, there is nothing else we can do except grow and take with us everything we learned and learn from it.
I see. Well, I personally feel like you can't exactly say that we've gone past this, seeing as for all we know, we still have a friend lost out there who we never bothered to go looking for. So, forgive me if I still am a little bit bitter about this.
Why you tell this story again? They happy in happy place. Please let Zozo embrace you, and you can feel this love of our friend. Come here.
So
Zozo
we tried.
tries to hold out his arms.
Yeah.
There's the chances that they are still alive is slim to none. And I would hope that they are not alive, because the place that we left, it would be terrible if they are still alive. So, for their sake, I truly hope that they are dead.
Even I wouldn't want to end up there.
Yes, well. Good, then I suppose we all agree. Can we move on now?
We clearly do not, but I will go and speak to the prisoner. And Mohaka will turn and walk away.
Yeah, and Zozo's gonna lumber after Mohaka.
All right, Zozo and Mohaka are leaving to talk to the prisoner. Is everyone else going?
After taking a moment to contemplate the ground, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
I follow Corvelle's lead.
No, go for it. I was planning to just go to the tower too.
All
so
right.
if
The group begins making their way to the unfinished tower. It is the tallest part of the castle, but still sort of the bottom parts of it are covered in scaffolding. The top few floors have clearly seen better days, holes in the walls. As you enter, you can look up and see floors missing above you as you're beginning to walk in. But there's a clear path sort of going down. It's clear that they've started this restoration at the bottom, going up. And there are, in fact, stairs that go down into a subterranean level. And there are a couple of guards standing on either side of this, or rather, there is one guard standing outside of the door that Javed told you to go to. And as you approach, she kind of pulls her shoulders back and nods, and says, I assume you have come to speak with the prisoner?
Yeah, we comes to see that sneaky guy.
Of course. And, pulls the keys off her belt ring. You can see that this is a sort of subterranean hallway. There are a couple of chambers. There's a torch burning in a lone torch burning in a bracket near this door. There's some light filtering through the stairway that you guys came down. And then there are just sort of doors branching off of this corridor. And she opens the one behind her and lets you into the room. You can see inside there just appear to be sort of like barrels and boxes stacked up. This looks like a storeroom rather than a cell. Many of the things appear to be building materials. And sort of crouched in one corner, sitting on top of a makeshift sort of cot made out of some planks of wood and a tarp, you can see this Yuan T man. He is in fact doing some stretches when you enter, and quickly realizing that someone has come in who isn't just another guard, springs nimbly to his feet, sort of looking at you warily. You can see at very rough first glance he looks human, but the ridge of his brow, the hollow of his throat, and a couple of other places are just dusted with scales, and his eyes are bright yellow with slit pupils. And as he watches all of you, he kind of nervously licks his lips, and you can see that he has fangs and a long forked tongue.
I am Mohaka. This is my companion, Zozo.
Hi, Snake.
You are?
My name is Anseth.
Ansel?
Anseth.
Anseth. Okay.
Unset. Good to meet you. Sorry we have to meet in small place. Kind of dark here.
It does not bother me.
Good. Well, we are here to see as to your innocence. I personally do not believe that you are the one who did this, but any information you can give to us will, at the very least, help with the case proving your innocence.
I have already said everything I know to the other man who visited me.
The other man?
Yes, the knight. He did
Oh,
not
he
tell
is-
me
Oh.
his name.
that good.
Well, yes, he is lower than the excrement on my foot.
Yeah, you kind of see him as
Wait,
he's
doesn't
talking about
matter.
this. Muhaka, I think you're probably the only one who realizes this. You see him kind of like rub a place on his arm. And as he does so, you can see there is a bruise there.
Corvelle just nudges Muhaka and is like, good job not saying lower than a snake's belly there. I know you wanted to.
I have learned something in my time. I see. Well, yes, I don't much like him, but there is something I can do that would help with your innocence if you let me cast this spell.
If you think it is necessary, I can promise I am telling the truth.
Yes, if your word were simply enough, you would not be behind bars.
He holds up his hand. Perhaps you understand this, and he looks between you and Belief and Zozo. But I am used to having my word questioned everywhere I go.
Which is why I'm hoping that with this spell, well, your innocence will be proved.
Yeah, he holds up his hands kind of forward in the gesture of like, do what you want. He seems kind of resigned, and frankly a little bored.
Yeah, fair. Well, pretty much if you didn't guess, the spell was Detect Thought.
Ah. Yeah, he will willingly fail the saving throw. He is trying to be cooperative.
Well, there we go. Well, hopefully with this we can, at the very least clear this guy's name. Muhaka will ask the obvious spell. Were you involved in anything at all that happened? Were you involved with the spell?
No. He's telling the truth.
Is there anything you know that might help with figuring out who did this?
I don't think so. All I know is I was doing my routine. I was doing everything as usual, and I finished, and the lady came up to give a speech, as they said she would. And then there was that light and that creature. I ran as fast as I could.
And Seth,
Did you?
sorry to interject, but you said you were expecting Lady Suad to speak.
They told me when I finished, the next thing that would happen was a lady speaking.
I see. Did you rehearse on that stage?
I have been doing this a long time. I felt no need to rehearse in this space.
I see. And finally, did you immediately prior to the appearance of that creature, did you hear or see or smell anything at all out of the ordinary? Immediately before it appeared.
I do not think so. No, I do not think so. He kind of shakes his head. But Muhaka, since you are in his thoughts, you can hear. You get the impression not of that point last night, but of a different point last night, actually quite late. In this room, you see sort of a brief flash of his memory, and you hear a strange sound. Something thudding against the door and sliding to the ground. And then footsteps and whispers. Several sets.
Are we inside this room with him?
Muhaka is detecting his thoughts, and so gets that sense, that memory.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Thank you for clarifying.
Muhaka will lift up her finger. Oh,
No, and
Go
as,
ahead.
as
Where's-
he's saying that, you kind of see a like thought, but he's directly answering Belief's question. It's just not really what Belief's asking.
I'll take it.
And Seth, in your travels as a performer, did you ever see the Vallejo Players?
The name does not immediately sound familiar, although there is something about your face that looks vaguely so.
Perhaps you've seen me perform?
I suppose it is possible.
I'd ask what you thought of my performance, but obviously it didn't leave a lasting. No
Wait.
further questions.
My friend, very famous. How you not know Corvelle? He play a lot of show.
He kind of like, you see his yellow eyes get wide. I meant no offense.
Just ignore them. Well, not so.
Okay,
But
just
ignore.
know he's great. Really good show. Really good.
He sort of nods and grins, which is very disconcerting. Like, yeah, but he has these big fangs. Like, "Eh."
Yeah.
Zozo pats Corvelle, big pats on his.
You're a great contortionist.
Thank you.
And Seth, and did anything odd happen last night?
He kind of looks hesitantly side to side and nods, but kind of like. And again, you get that memory stronger. And he says, I did not want to say it too loud. Guards do not like it when you speak ill of them, but I think mine fell asleep.
Fell asleep.
Then,
Did you
if
hear
you
any?
cannot speak,
Sorry. Did anything happen while they were sleeping, or did any noises precipitate them falling asleep? Did they fall asleep at the same time? Did it seem spooky?
Yes. I heard a clatter. As it like someone in armor falling over? And I went to the door to listen in case someone was hurt, but all I heard was snoring. And then footsteps. Several sets of footsteps, whispers. I could not make out what they were saying. It was very late at night. I do not know what time I was underground in this room. He kind of shrugs hopelessly. Something is certainly going on.
Yeah, and Seth, sorry. Were you able to discern which going?
He thinks about it and points further down the hall.
Sorry, just for context, is that like sort of further into zones, or like where's what is that
it's
way?
away from the stairs.
Okay, so like deeper into the underground zones. Okay.
Yeah.
so I'm curious. And Seth, I would like you to do something for me. I want you to think very intensely on what happened last night. And I'm hoping that I can perhaps notice things that you were not entirely consciously aware you know.
He's gonna try this. What I'd like you to do is make a perception check.
All
As
right.
we see Muhaka like warging into this guy's memories.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now you're thinking with someone else's thought.
Now you're thinking with magic.
Quite. Oh, for the love of... Okay, that's a 12.
12. Okay. What you hear, is basically, again, when you get that same sequence, you sort of see from the perspective of Anseth, you hear a crash, which startles you out of sleep. You run over to the door, and sort of presses his ear against it. You feel a host of sensations you are not accustomed to feeling, sort of like a smell, taste of the air, as his tongue sort of flicks out nervously. You hear snoring, and then someone speaking in a low voice, saying something. Sounds, you don't make out the words, but it sounds very much like a yes, okay. Like someone saying, yeah, okay. Something like that. You don't hear the actual words, but the tone of it is very much like that. And then there are a few more sets of footsteps and more low whispering. You make out one or two words. Lady. Ritual.
Okay.
And the footsteps recede. You're not sure exactly how many, but definitely more than one. And probably more than 3.
Okay. More than 3 footsteps.
And there's a scent or a taste or something in the air, like sweat and dirt, and some other scent or taste, but you're not able to identify it. It's not one that you're familiar with, and maybe it's just using these weird sensory organs. But you think if you encountered it again, you might recognize it, but it's not something you know what it is.
Yes, well, considering I rolled a 6, that is a lot of information I was able to get. All right, Mohaka will just I just imagine her kind of, she pulls out. There were at least more than 1 set, perhaps more than 3 sets. These sensations, I cannot quite describe what I smelled, tasted. But if I were to encounter it again, I can. But whoever these people were, they were involved with what happened. They said girl and ritual, which I assume
lady,
means
specifically.
Lady and ritual, which I assume they're talking about Petra and the ritual that happened. It makes me wonder if that guard truly fell asleep, or if there was a spell put on him. Or
There was definitely a spell.
To what end?
There was a spell. They must have been getting something, or looking for something, But they're clearly having a whispered secret conversation, and didn't want to draw attention to him. Why
not have the conversation somewhere else?
Well, that's my next question. Why is this unfinished tower important? Can you give us a background information on this tower? Is this like the Sagrada Familia, where it's just been under construction forever, or is it recently been?
So the whole palace was sort of left to fall into ruin because the family didn't have the money to maintain it. And as part of their getting married, Kian has been paying to refurbish it over the last 9 months or so, but that's just not enough time to do something this big. So this is one of the portions that was in the poorest repair and thus is still in the worst condition because just not enough time has passed for the whole palace to be refinished.
So that's a good place to hide things. Spooky unfinished holes in walls. No one's really going to go up there because it's not super safe or pleasant to be around. Can I do like a search of the area of where I think maybe the voices were?
Yes, you can definitely do that. Does anyone have any more questions before Anseth, before we do that?
Who was the guard? Do you know who the guard was?
It was a man. I heard them change shifts this morning, so I do not think it is the same one.
Thank you. I will make sure that Petra and Kian are aware of your innocence and cooperation.
Anseth, who was it that hired you to perform here?
There was a call in Alessandros. I showed up and I was accepted.
Was it Kian and his side of the family that oversaw that, or Lady Swad and hers?
I did not speak directly to any of people of such importance. The only name I remember, I spoke to a woman. She wore a headdress. The steward, I think. I do not remember her name.
Morda, was it?
Yes, that sounds familiar.
I see. Could be something to that.
Thank you, Anseth. We'll do what we can to prove you're innocent.
He sort of nods. He says, "For now, it is all right. I am eager to leave this place." He sort of looks around and shrugs and settles back onto the cot as you guys leave and are investigating the rest of the basement.
Yeah.
All right, Chastity,
Sure.
why don't you go ahead and roll me an investigation check?
Okie dokie.
While she's doing that, I will just. There's a guard on the door right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I will just ask, like, do you guys know what's down that way? Just like point deeper into the basement. It's like, does anyone go down there? Is that being on still?
She looks and kind of looks back at you and says, "Why do you ask?"
We're just trying to determine if there are any parts of the palace where perhaps someone might be able to hide something or anything like that.
I certainly haven't heard anything, but I think some of the workers store things down here. I'm not really sure. Honestly, I wouldn't be down here at all if we didn't have this person in custody. She sort of shrugs. She looks kind of blasé.
Ask her if she knows who the guard on duty last night was.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I will ask. Who did you relieve this morning? Do you know their name?
Oh, yes, Hamal.
Hamal? Did they seem like themselves this morning?
Yes, as much as anyone who's had night duty can.
I understand. Yeah. Thank you.
She nods and says, "Of course, happy to help." And just sort of goes back. You can see she has like a dime novel sort of thing. And goes back to reading it. Kicks her legs up on the table that's sitting there.
I rolled a 16.
16. All right. It takes you about 10 or 15 minutes kind of poking through these rooms. Many of them are very similar to the one that Anseth was in, just sort of like full of supplies. A couple of them are kind of dirtier, dustier than some of the others. You can actually see that out in the hall there are a couple of footprints like in dust on the stone floor. Not necessarily great for tracking. You could give that a try, but I think what interests you the most is in a larger room kind of down at the end of the hall. There are some pieces of furniture kind of like under tarps and things, but they've all been sort of dragged away from the walls, and on one wall in the back you can see there is a large mural.
Okay.
It's like saying walk instead of down. Like, no.
Walk.
So,
Is it
yeah,
bird related?
go ding, like little
Is there a happy sunset in the corner somewhere?
yeah.
Oh, a friend.
Wait, so this mural, does it look like it's been tampered with?
It looks like it's been restored. It's certainly been cleaned off, more than a lot of other stuff down here, but I wouldn't say necessarily tampered with.
Are the footsteps leading towards it?
Hard to say. Definitely in the general direction of this room.
Can I search this room more intensely, or did that roll count for that?
I think, you could get some assistance and maybe make another roll as a group.
Okay. So guys, there's footsteps over here, and this room, you don't come to an abandoned tower for no reason and knock people out for no reason, so there has to be something in here, or something was in here.
What is the mural of?
That is a very good question. It is of a lake. There are trees around it, some mountains in the background. It is a moonlit scene. And you can see two birds flying over the lake, and there are ripples in the center of the water, as if something has just been dropped into it.
Two birds.
Can Zozo inspect it? Can I just go over and look?
Yes. Are you trying to ascertain anything in particular about it?
Zozo wants to know if it's the special painting that Javed told him about.
All right. You can go ahead and make me a history check.
Okay. I don't. My history.
Let's make an
is
art history check.
I
I tell you what, Zozo, I will give you advantage on this roll because of your background.
Come on, that art history, yes.
I'm -1 actually on history check.
So now you're like a plus
Nice.
4, roughly.
Is
Roughly.
it +4?
No,
listen, in
it's
school,
advantage.
Mathematically.
in
Right.
school, we really tried to pioneer the like a new school of thought that was all about like being in the moment, and about how like art only exists in the time and place that you experience it, So like we didn't really read as much of the history as like we could.
Indeed.
It's 15.
You have advantage, so you can roll
14.
twice and take the
Okay.
higher.
Still 15.
So 14, actually, because you have minus.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Minus
So
14's good.
the 14, you would guess that the style it probably is your namesake painter Ba'ab Ras. But it's different. It's definitely, maybe like earlier in the style, or now that you're thinking about it, maybe even someone who influenced him. If it wasn't him in particular, there are definitely a lot of stylistic similarities. Although, as you look at it closer, there is one thing that definitely wouldn't normally be in a painting. He was very much more about doing like landscapes and naturalistic settings. But you can see in the trees on the lakeshore, there is a figure, which is very unusual. There's some sort of indistinct figure sort of walking through the trees, and you can even see it looks like maybe someone wearing like a long trailing gown or something. It's kind of hard to make out.
It may not be a Ba'ab Ross, it might be a Waldo.
Old master,
Oh my
everyone,
god.
you know this painting in style of Ba'abraz. Could be, someone who taught him is ancient and beautiful. But I know usually it's trees. Why is man in back? Man hiding in trees there.
But this is beautiful, and Zozo just wants to contemplate. He's maybe not being as helpful as he could. He's just one kind
That's okay.
of tear just coming down because he's never seen something this ancient and beautiful.
So happy trees.
Yeah, Chastity, you can also just sort of tell from the general, it's definitely been restored, but this painting has been here for a long time.
Okay. Is there
All right,
anything on the picture frames or anything?
It is a mural, so it is painted directly on the wall.
That's what a mural means.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any secret? I want to
Yeah,
inspect
we
where the
were
man is.
doing the
Okay.
check-in.
Sure. Muhaka, are you assisting Chastity with this? Chastity, are you assisting Muhaka?
I only have a plus
Yeah,
one.
investigating.
Okay, so why
Plus
don't you assist Muhaka in this, since you already made one roll. Muhaka, go ahead and you can make an investigation check with advantage.
Cool. Okay, so that is a 26 on 25 on 1.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think what you both realize with Zozo's sort of prompting there is the figure that's in the trees has been added, definitely after the original painting was made. And there are some signs around the outside of the wall that suggest that maybe it moves.
Wait, what?
The
The
person
The
moves?
entire wall seems like maybe it moves.
Like it was
There might be a
taken
door
somewhere else.
behind it?
Clarify move.
Yeah, like was the wall
On a
taken
swivel,
there from somewhere
or-
else, or does the wall wiggle?
You
It's
can
like a
see,
Jello wall.
No, it's like there's like a groove around it, like maybe it slides down or up or side to side.
Ah.
There are
Interesting.
some like slight scuffs on the front of the painting that would indicate that.
I'm gonna start fucking around with the wall.
Yeah, you sort of, and I think I'll roll this right into the roll for you. There's like you don't find any like bricks that move or floorboards that like floor tiles that depress or anything like that, or like parts of the painting that you can push in. It doesn't seem like anything like that, but you can you get a faint like on the like figure that's painted in there. There are little bits of distress, and you would guess, again, you all went to art school, that maybe it's like degradation from being touched.
So I touch it,
Yeah, you touch it and nothing
and for good
happens.
measure. Okay. So then I say, "Friend" in Dwarvish, and see what happens.
What?
Where did that come from?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
Speak,
What?
friend, and enter.
Yes.
The Lord of Witch.
Bam.
What are you talking about?
The classic history tale.
Nothing happens.
History was never
I'm
my
afraid.
subject. You know that.
Ugh.
To be fair, at the time, smacking things was your subject.
The thing that occurs to, I think, all of you after a few minutes of poking and prodding at this, maybe even 20 minutes of poking and prodding at this, you realize that the picture is depicted at night.
We might want to be here at night. That would explain why the footsteps.
You said that we're low down, right?
Yes, you're underground.
Are we near another significant section of the castle that might veer off in this direction? Or kind of hard to figure out?
As you don't know a ton about the layout of the castle, the tower is
Yeah.
kind of in the middle,
Okay.
laterally and kind of on the edge in another way, but
So it seems like really could be a chance to go in many
yes.
different paths.
Well, we don't know much about the castle, but we do know that the library has some blueprints of what it looked like before.
That is true.
So while some of you go deal with the library, I still need to go talk to some plants before too much time has passed.
Yeah, so we do still have some time until we're supposed to accompany Lady Petra on some sort of nighttime ritual. So,
Oh man, there's so many things to do.
Muhaka, since you are from around here, as Belief is explaining this, which I don't think he had mentioned before, you can go ahead and make a history check.
Oh, cool. I kept meaning to ask, and I would forget every time because I got distracted with some other fun tidbit that we found out. Okay, then. That will be, I believe, a 21.
All right, so you are.
I know my history, guys.
Yeah, you're from this region, and you remember what Lady Petra said about like observing the traditions, and you realize probably what tradition would take place on this night, since the wedding is supposed to be the day after tomorrow, would be a ritual cleansing, a ritual bath. So you imagine
The
it's probably
bachelorette
that.
party.
Kind of, yeah. And it's normally like the bride is accompanied by all of her female friends and family, and you would guess it is probably that. There are often also like, like blessings and good luck stuff. Like some parts of the country do like henna. Very like traditional. Think like a hammam before a traditional like North African wedding.
Yeah.
Usually, like a cop or a construction worker will show up.
Stop.
That's a North American wedding.
They'll show up and they're the ones doing the henna, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably what it is.
While grandmother stands by and watches.
It's police henna. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so to my prior comment, yes, we need to. We still have some time, so I think that I'm going to go to the library, see if we can determine more about the layout.
Make sure you keep your eyes peeled. And I am going to give Bardic Inspiration.
That how long does that last?
10 minutes-ish, so
Okay.
he's going straight to the library, so.
Cool.
I'll walk fast.
I'll go
Alright.
with. I'll go with.
Chastity and Belief are going to the library. Anybody else?
I suppose we can wait until we're out of here, and then I will do that.
Mahaka, you want to go back to the greenhouse?
Yep. Are the trees happy? Happy trees.
All trees happy in school of Ba'ab, Raz.
Corvelle, where would you like to go?
Wow, I was thinking that I wanted to go maybe try to sneak into Kian's room, but maybe now's not the time, or is now the perfect time?
Maybe now's the perfect time. Who knows?
Maybe now's the perfect time.
It's never the perfect time.
I have to go freshen up for the night. I never really got the chance to dress properly, so I will see all of you later.
Zozo, what would you like to do?
I will accompany Mohaka to the greenhouse.
All right. We will jump into all three of those scenes right after we take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in like 5 minutes for the continuation of our exciting adventure in the gardens of Golshan. Hello, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Gardens of Golshan. Since I left it ominously, I figured I'd better bring it back in ominously too.
It's consistent. It's good.
Having just interviewed a prisoner who they believe, I think it's fair to say, they believe to be innocent, our heroes have decided to divide and conquer to check a few more avenues of investigation before they have a traditional obligation with her ladyship. So let's start with
Can I
Mohaka.
just
Oh yeah.
Sorry. As soon as Chastity left the room, she changed her mind that she didn't want to be with Belief in the library. She wanted to go with Muhaka because she remembered that the plant sounded interesting.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you all sort of split up. Corvelle kind of is like, yeah, I gotta go freshen up. And I'd like to imagine him walking backwards awkwardly out of the room.
I'm gonna go freshen up. You know,
there's a fountain calling my name.
So, Mohaka, Chastity,
Seems
and
legit.
Zozo Ba'ab are headed back out to the greenhouse to interview some plants.
My posse.
Yeah. I'd be offended by the implication that I'm less interested in plants, but on the other hand, this means Chastity's going somewhere else, so...
All right, well then, let's start with Zozo and the ladies.
Zozo and the ladies.
You all-
This needs to be a band.
Yep.
You all make your way back out to the greenhouse where you were last night.
Yes. And, well, I will. It's pretty simple. Same thing I did last time. Speak with plants to interact. Which shall it be? The tree? I mean, it's burned, but it's big and it's right there. And hopefully, because it's bigger, it's a little bit smarter
Yeah,
than
absolutely.
the shrubs.
So you cast Speak with Plants on this tree. as you connect to it again, you can feel that presence. You feel it pulling you down through the roots of the tree.
But I fight against it
Make
and
a
try to
wisdom
focus
saving
on.
throw. Or, I'm sorry, a charisma saving throw.
Darn it!
I just go with it, man.
No, come on, Charisma's
no,
no
we-
thing.
Yes, but my rolls are also a thing. Oh, hey! It is a 15.
That is sufficient. Having had this happen to you once already, you're prepared for it and steel your mind and your will against it and are able to fight it off. What are you asking the tree?
About whoever was in here the night before. Basically, around the point where the glass shattered.
So you ask about
Focusing
any
on-
other people being in here before the before you came in, and you see only one figure. It's indistinct. Again, trees don't really go for the whole faces thing, but you get a sense of familiarity and nurturing from this figure, and you would wager a guess that it's probably Lady Swad, who maintained and took care of these plants.
It's not what I'm looking for.
And then you see all of you entering. You feel the shattering of some force against the trunk. You remember Chastity sending several eldritch blasts through the door.
Yes.
And in fact, you have a moment of the plant recognizing Chastity, who is strolling around in the background, and you just get this, as much resentment as a plant can feel. You sort of feel the pain of its scorched trunk and leaves, and you feel it kind of like, if a plant could narrow its eyes and shake its head. That's what it would
I
be.
share that sentiment. I do that all the time.
But as you're probing further, you get the sense of shattered glass. This happened right beside this tree. But what you see is a vine snaking its way out of the fountain and over towards the desk.
So it was the vine that got the liquid and spilled it.
And then you see another of those vines snaking up out of the water, dripping and dragging water across the floor as they go.
Okay. Well, so this one was a dead end, but that's okay. All right. I severed the
Wait,
connection
where did those vines come from?
Out of the
Where
water.
did, no, but
out of
like
the water.
from before that step. How'd they get into the water?
Well, they must have already been in the water. The tree its memories only go so far, about a day. So if they were in the water before for longer than a day,
happened?
then the tree will not be able to tell me. Yes,
I'm just saying we should go explore this fountain.
the one right there.
You can
it's
actually see Chastity, and you remember Corvelle mentioning this from his, Corvelle loves a fountain. That there seems to be like a source for water coming up into the fountain that isn't just the statue. So there must be some sort of pipe or something flowing into it.
I'm wondering if we can go inside. Is there like a secret entrance inside of it or something?
Make an investigation check.
Do you need some help with that?
Yeah, how about I help you? You go look and see if there's something in there.
Wait, you want me to enter the water?
Or like stick your hand in it and see if it's as shallow as it looks. Or like where the water's coming from. We should know where this water's coming from. It seems to be magical and there's plants in it.
Zozo seemed to remember was normal fountain from before.
Fine, I suppose I can do that. I don't breathe. I could stay in there for a while. If only Corvelle was here. Sure. very unhappily do it.
Make an investigation check.
Plus 6 is 21.
21. Yeah, I think you're easily able to find that there are a couple of pipes that come up into the basin of this fountain that water seems to flow through. They're definitely not large enough for you to fit through.
Okay, that was a colossal waste of time. It is pipes. It works now. Excuse me. I need to go and dry off. Ah!
And Chastity,
I
you're looking around and you don't necessarily find any indication that the fountain moves or that the statue moves or any sort of secret entrance. The pipe is large enough for the vine to fit through, but probably not large enough for a person. Unless they were really small.
Are they northwest? Like what direction? Like if I were to leave the greenhouse, do I think I would know what direction they were coming from? Because this water was, or these plants, like it seems like there was something weird about the water last time.
Well, yes, but I think perhaps that is less the vines were a product of whatever experiments the late Suad was doing, and not necessarily anything. The water is a factor, but not the only thing that works here. Remember, this was the garden house that she experimented.
Here's what I'll say, Chastity. You go outside of the greenhouse following the direction of the pipe, and you can make me a perception check.
Mm-hmm. 6.
All right. We will address that in one moment. Zozo, what are you up to?
Zozo has been looking around the fountain and probably was pretty paying close attention to Mahaka while she was out and communing with this plant, just concerned about what was happening. So has stayed sitting. Hi, Kitty. Has stayed sitting around Mahaka.
Okay. Do you go out with Chastity, or are you going to stay in with Mahaka?
Yeah, you know what? I am, now that I find that she's just annoyed that she's wet and everything is fine. I'll go.
It's not just that.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll go outside and take a look around.
Yeah, will you make a perception check as well? You kind of see Chastity like, okay, so the pipe here, it goes over that way. It's sort of wandering around between the trees, like looking for something and kind of not finding anything.
That's a 10.
You know, the two of you are sort of like wandering around between these trees, looking at one another. And I think it probably takes you like a while, like maybe an hour. And Muhaka, you at this point have been sort of following them. You're wandering like all around the, like organizing a search. I feel like Chastity is the kind of person who wouldn't give up on this since she has this idea. And eventually, you know, it takes you quite a while, but you find in the vague direction of maybe where the pipe goes, there is another sort of small fountain elsewhere in the garden. And you find a few crumbled leavings of like chalk and like a shattered, maybe like glass or a stone of some sort. Chastity and Muhaka, this is evident to both of you as perhaps implements of arcane magic.
Excellent.
Exactly what spell it was, you're not sure. And it does look like someone tried to clean it up, but maybe did so in a hurry.
And does it look like any of the similar implements from the spell that killed the mother?
Make an Arcana check.
I'm sure you've got this bardic inspiration.
Oh yeah, I got.
I'm sorry, I'm just giving it away like candy.
Passive aggressive bardic
Candy
inspiration. I'm sure you've got this.
For what you were right.
I rolled a 4.
Would you like to add your bardic inspiration die to that?
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I gave you
Muhaka
one,
just
but I
gave you
don't
one.
know how much.
Oh, sorry, I
useful
didn't
that
hear
will
that.
be.
Yes.
I,
I mean, if I roll an 8 and it's a 12, let's try it.
hey,
Sorry,
try
I
it.
didn't hear that.
Muhaka is grudgingly like, okay, you may have had a point about the fountain. I was too busy being squeamish.
Does a 6 make it any better?
Here's what I'll tell you. These implements are more likely to be associated with arcane magic rather than divine magic. But that's about all you got.
I'm going to keep him and bring him back to belief.
Yeah. Both of you do know that Lady Swad was a divine magician. She was a druid.
Yes.
So seems unlikely
Yeah,
that
this
they would
is
be
where-
hers, but they might be. But anything else is kind of, who could say?
Okay.
By the way, the thing that got me last time, it's still here. I feel it. I felt it. Trying to draw me through the roots of the trees. It seems to have just spread through all this area.
There's
As you-
something evil sleeping here. Or awake.
We should go. If Bad Thing tried to get Mohaka, grab our legs, is that what you're saying? Is the plant gonna grab our legs?
So, no. You remember when I passed out when I touched the tree before?
Yeah.
I said that it felt like something attacked my mind.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that same thing, except it felt like it was drawing me through the trees. It was using the tree as a connection.
Oh, your mind legs.
Yes, my mind legs.
Okay, Zozo got it. Mind legs.
All right, let's reconvene with the others.
Okay.
As you turn and leave, Mohaka, you feel something and you can't quite put your finger on it, and it isn't until you get back to the castle that you realize what the sensation was. As you were having this conversation, someone was watching you.
No.
Let's go ahead and cut to Corvelle. Corvelle,
Okay.
you're getting dressed.
Yeah, it's
All right.
freshening up, right? Nothing else?
Corvelle is freshening up. Corvelle also has calligrapher's supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So Corvelle's gonna pull out and draft a nice letter. And then he also has some perfume. He's gonna spray that letter with some perfume.
Okay.
He's gonna fold it up. He's gonna stuck it inside his pocket. Then he's gonna put on like his dingiest clothes. He's gonna pull out his actor supplies and like spirit gum on like a beat.
Okay.
And he's just gonna go walking out in the yard looking for the best angle of approach to Keon's bedroom. I imagine there's like a prominent window, maybe a balcony, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Are you
And-
proficient with the disguise kit?
How would I be? I took the actor's feat, and I think.
Sure, then yeah, you're proficient in a disguise kit. Stage makeup for sure. Go ahead and roll me a dexterity check and add your proficiency bonus for your
Sure.
proficiency with disguise.
So just 5 dex, right?
Yeah, dex plus
Okay.
proficiency.
Dex plus proficiency. Sorry. Okay, that is an 18.
Yeah, you're an actor. You put on a costume. What sort of impression are you trying to give off with this disguise?
Just like the most normal looking person. I want to like give a second glance to just like fitting in with like the commoners here wherever they.
Did you like swipe like a servant's uniform or something, or are you just like going standard commoner?
No, I didn't standard commoner, just like average Joe.
Sure. Yeah.
That sort of.
You definitely manage this, and with a little bit of asking around covertly, you find which room belongs to Kian Azuras, and
Okay.
it does indeed have a balcony that looks out over the small interior garden.
Great.
It's not even really a garden. There's just like some plants and a fountain.
The fountains of Golshan.
There are a lot of them.
Fountain of Golshan.
When you have a lot of plants, you need a lot of water.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Corvelle's a big fan, don't get me wrong. Okay, so Corvelle, in addition to being like a stage performer, also does some circusy sort of stuff at times, has done a little trapeze here and there. So he'd like to see if there's an angle and maybe a time when there aren't too many people around where he can just sort of like up and like get to like a second story and like sneak along where this balcony is.
Yes, I need you to do two things for me. First, I need you to make an athletics check to get up there.
Gotcha. Is acrobatics okay?
Unfortunately, you have to climb up there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Unless you want to like climb a tree and then try and jump over there.
That's
But
okay.
Either way,
That's
I think it's going to be athletics. Sorry.
All right, that's fine. I rolled a natural 1, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 point of luck. There we go.
Maybe a good idea.
It feels like this might be.
Otherwise, this is going to be Corvelle Falls in a Fountain, Part 3.
I mean, now you're talking me back into
Oh, damn
Keep
it.
that one.
Okay.
There's still time. There's still
fountain.
time. There's still time.
There's still time. All right, I'm using it. Let me see. A 2. I rolled a 2 instead. I literally don't think I could do anything about that. So
Hey, that's 100% better.
I'm
So instead
destined. That was destined to happen.
Yeah, I think.
So instead of cracking your foot, you just fall in.
Even
Yeah.
if I would have gotten to roll acrobatics, I would have failed twice.
you climb up a tree, you're gonna jump over to this balcony, you're waiting for the right moment. And I think there's like a bird on the branch and you startle it and it startles you and you don't quite get the lift and you just plummet into this fountain. Fortunately, it's a fountain, so you don't take any falling damage.
Fortunately.
That's good.
You know all
Just
those
as planned.
all those cats that try to jump on furniture and they just miss and bonk their faces.
yeah.
All I'm imagining with Corvelle.
Yeah, and as you're climbing out, you see a servant kind of come up, and she has a big basket full of what looks like maybe laundry. And she says, "Are you all right? What were you doing up there?"
Yeah, I was just trimming the branches back. They told me that they thought it looked, a little rough, and they just wanted everything perfect for the wedding.
Make a deception check.
Okay.
You have advantage because you're in disguise.
Okay. Let's see. Deception. I'm pretty good at that. 12.
With
and
advantage, yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. And also, is your beard blue?
16.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
that's true.
you manage.
The water
you,
soluble?
You feel it, and you just kind of like do a like very casual like, oh yes, I hit my head, and rub it back into place. And she kind of goes,
my beard.
"Oh, you poor thing," and says, "Well, like if you need any help, I can go call one of the other gardeners for you." And after you kind of wave her off, she kind of like shrugs and just keeps going on her way.
It's like
That was amazing.
I pull myself out of the fountain, and I say, "Well, at least this is unlikely to happen again."
So you wait for another good moment?
No. And then I'll go back and get myself actually dressed up proper for the ritual this evening.
By the way, nobody mentions to Corvelle that I was in the fountain. Nobody.
Wait, is this the same fountain?
No. Do you? I mean, you can like try and go through on the inside, but if you're good, you can.
I might want to do something again, but I'll let other people.
Okay. Then finally, we catch up with Belief in the library. Yeah, Belief. What are you looking for?
Is there a librarian or anyone else who works here, or is it just...
There is not. You kind of eventually find the library. The double doors...
The librarian's at the bachelor party.
That's right.
Right, of course.
You kind of come in, it's dusty, and it's pretty clear just from a first look that a lot of this stuff... I mean, the library is very bare and kind of picked over. It looks like a lot of stuff is gone. And what is there has maybe been put back recently. And there's kind of still a lot of dust around. There's a chandelier that was clearly once hanging there that's kind of resting on the floor, tilted on its side.
Gotcha. All right.
A couple
So
of
the
statues are like covered in tarps. And there are definitely books, and there are actually two desks that both have books sort of spread out across them. But it's a little ramshackle just at the moment. It's an octagonal room with two kind of floors. There's ladders going up to the wooden second floor, which is totally barren and looks like maybe it needs some work. The first floor is stone, and there's a massive skylight in the roof, which is filling the room with this beautiful light. It was clearly once an extremely grand room, but has not been refurbished to the full extent yet.
Gotcha. So this is for some reason I thought the library was going to be repaired. This is clearly the unrepaired.
It is in the process. It's like architecturally relatively sound, but it hasn't been like spruced up.
No worries. Okay, so I sort of give Proof a look. I'm like, well, it looks like we have some work. And we're gonna start poking around. What I'm looking for would, I guess, generally speaking, I'm looking for just sort of the site, or I don't know if there's actually going to be like plans of this place or like old documents like that.
Absolutely. It sounds like you need to make an investigation check.
I thought you might say that. And incidentally, because there is that upper empty, I'm going to delegate that to Proof because he can just fly up there, so I don't have to do any ladder climbing with only one leg. Absolutely. So yeah, he'll handle that.
Sure. So you Belief make an investigation check and Proof make a perception check.
Sounds like a plan. Okay. Let's see here. Investigation. Not actually trained in that. Oh well, whatever. Okay, so I've rolled a 6.
Okay.
Bardic inspiration, maybe. But
this
yeah.
Actually, I might as well.
Yeah.
It's taking place over a long period of time.
So it probably
I'll let you use it. Why not?
All right, fair enough. I do feel extra inspired when I'm walking in.
Yeah.
I got a 4, so 10.
10.
Joy.
Okay.
Meanwhile, up top, perception you said for Proof?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So he gets a natural 20. So 23.
Okay, so...
I'm not fighting the guy here. Proof, you got it up there?
Here's what I'm going to say. You spend quite a bit of time poring over the shelves, pulling out books, looking at them, pulling out things. You're just... like, there's plenty of interesting stuff here, but none of it is really what you're looking for. You spend a couple of hours, probably, poring over this stuff. And every so often, Proof kind of comes and, like, sits on a shelf in front of you and is, like, trying to get your attention, and you're just, like, not paying attention. And finally, he kind of looks at you and goes, "Found." And hops over to one of the desks. And all of the books and the papers that you've been looking for are already out on a desk, and it looks like somebody else has also been looking at this information.
Yeah, so I was like, put the book that I was looking at down, and like, yes, the ones closest to the door. Should have started there.
The desk in question is actually the furthest one from the door.
Okay, good. I feel less stupid.
Yeah.
Still stupid, just less stupid. Okay.
And Proof also notices, up on the upper floor, there's not like books and stuff in there. There are empty shelves, and there's like cobwebs and dust in them and stuff. But on the space so the upper level doesn't go all the way around. The wall that is above the door where you came in, there is a large sort of bas-relief carving on that whole wall. So stone, it carved into the stone of the wall. It's a beautiful sort of sinuous carving. So that actually caught a lot of Proof's attention. He's just been sort of like flying around looking at the different parts of it. It's quite large. And depicts a heroic figure in battle with a sort of amorphous monster of some sort.
Okay, that's interesting. Is this relief like time worn to the point where it's hard to get details on the monster, and that's why it's
yes, but also by design. Like it's got parts that look vaguely humanoid, but then it doesn't have any legs, and they're just like a bunch of snakes, and like it has hair that also turns into like other stuff, and like the hands like turn into wolves. It's like a bunch of different monsters kind of flowing into each other.
Huh. Okay. I devote a minute or so to kind of memorizing what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go and look at the books that Proof has kindly paid attention to.
Yes. Yeah, you find blueprints of the castle, of various things, of various rooms, and they look more like sketches, and there are also like, like books that are like descriptions of this place, like historical records. Like, yeah, exactly all the kind of stuff that you were looking for, but has clearly already been collated by somebody else.
Curious. Interesting. So
There are, in fact, a couple of documents about this room, which are sort of on top, and you see one scrap of note paper left behind, with one word scrawled on it in an unfamiliar hand, and it just says "sword?" ? And it's underlined 3 times.
Huh. Sword ?
And as you're looking over all of this,
Okay.
you hear someone come into the room.
Is the door visible from where I'm at, or?
Your back is to it, and I think you turn around and you see Jathan standing there. Again, his typical posture, arms crossed. What are you doing in here?
Vague disapproval at all times. I give him a sort of a look and push my glasses back up my nose and say, well, I am attempting to do some background research on the lands and the castle itself, looking for possible places where someone might hide, conspire, that sort of thing. I'm sure that makes sense to you, no?
You really think you're going to find the answer to all of this in a book?
The answer to all of this, no, but knowledge is power, and I intend to collect as much of it as I can, so I don't waste my time. Now, if you'll excuse me, and I sort of turn back to the books.
I will excuse you. Zareen said she was looking for you.
Oh, turn back around. Is it time, then?
I don't keep your schedule.
Yes, I see. Very helpful. Very well. I suppose if you're going back to her, tell her I'll be along directly. Otherwise, do whatever it is that you do. I'm not like so much annoyed at him, except in that he's disrupting me. So I'm kind of just like distracted almost as I'm talking to him.
Yeah, I mean, he just is sort of standing there looking at you, and after like a minute or so, he just sort of walks over and picks a random book off the shelf and is sort of like looking into it, but clearly like not paying very much attention. It's kind of obvious that he is waiting for you to leave.
Interesting. Proof flutters over and perches on the shelf right next to him and just like kind of cocks his head. It's like, which one are you reading?
And he snaps the book shut, clearly attempting to like ruffle the bird. And says, I am looking into the history of my family. And kind of shoves the book back on the shelf and reaches past Proof to grab another one.
Sure. Interesting. I actually turn back around again and say, and I'm like, oh, your family bloodline.
Yes. I am also a descendant of Elsidon. Seems something everyone else has forgotten.
No, that's actually, you make an excellent point. You are. Is there anything, Sorry, I'm not actually that well versed in your family tree. Like, now I'm actually interested. I'm not actually that versed in your family tree. Are you direct descendant? Are you branch family? What is your connection to Elsidon exactly?
As you were asking him this, I think you can just see a muscle in the corner of his brow like start twitching and like, I am as much a descendant of Elsidon as anyone. I realize that there are certain titles not given but once in a generation. But I like to think that I have proven my inheritance through my actions rather than through my accident of birth.
I just sort of I hold up sort of a mollifying hand that says, "Please, I meant no offense. I have been some of my associates are versed in history and ancient and recent, and yes, I'm aware that you are quite accomplished in your own right. Did not mean to imply that you were not. However, I am curious, and I'm sorry if this is presumptuous, but you said that there was a title to a generation, was it? Or, is that, may I deduce that that title is currently Lady Petra's?
He sort of looks down and then looks back up and he says, "We can agree that Petra is a good girl, but if anyone deserves to be the heir of Elsidon, it's me."
The heir of Elsidon, as a title, has some sort of power. Simply be. Is it more than just a title? I guess is sort of what I'm asking. You seem to be placing much importance on this, or is it simply a matter of inheritance?
Our family has protected Maran for generations, for 1,000 years. I suppose someone like you wouldn't put much stock in their heritage. At least I should hope not. But I do.
Well, I understand, and your heritage, of course, much. Well, I would rather have yours than mine. On that, we can agree. What is it? Again, if I do not mean to be presumptuous, but what is it that were you hoping to find additional information about your lineage that you do not already possess? This library seems to have already been picked somewhat clean in that regard.
It's really none of your business.
Okay, I'm not great at this, but I'm going to make an insight. I kind of want to know if he is really just mainly trying to get rid of.
I'm sorry. I'm missing a lot of what you're saying, Reed. Can you repeat that?
Oh, sorry. I said, well, I would like to actually make an insight check on him because I'm trying to read. I'd like to read if he's like just wants me to go away because he wants privacy, or if he's like, please go away so that I can burn all of these books.
Yeah, go ahead and make an insight check.
Marvelous. So good at that. That's... Yes, that would be a 2.
He's definitely acting really shifty. That is very evident, but exactly what? The thing that really is, I think, kind of catching you off guard is the way that he's talking about Petra. Because you've seen the two of them interact, and he seems very friendly. But when you're just having this conversation with her, he seems kind of contemptuous.
Yeah, no, that is... No, I marked that. That is weird. I'll have to think about that more later. Anyway, well, I sort of after a moment of contemplation, I just say to him, "Well, as you said, I have somewhere that I need to be. But," and I turn around and was there one book that was, or one collection of papers that was, again, sort of a plan of this place?
Yeah, I think there's one. You find one thing that's there's actually sort of two pieces of paper of interest. There's one that's a drawing of the castle in its heyday, and then one that's sort of a generalized floor plan. It's not super detailed, but it sort of points out where all the different parts are.
I see. All right. Well, I'm going to sort of pick those up to take with me. And I say to Jathan as I make to leave, I say, I hope that you find what you're looking for. And well, perhaps it goes without saying, but do be careful. There seems to be somebody someone else here who's with particular interest in your lineage. I have reason to think that Petra is more their target than you, but I don't really know very much about the difference between you two and your lineage now, do I? So I'm not really sure about that. Stay on your guard.
Oh, I will, he says. And you walk out of the room, but I think you kind of turn just as you're shutting the door and see him making a beeline for that desk where all that stuff was.
Interesting. I'm gonna actually, as I depart, I'm just gonna tell Proof, perch somewhere if you would be so good, and just when he leaves, just let me know if he carries a bunch of stuff with him or anything like that, just for interest's sake.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I go somewhere a little less prickly to the drawings.
All right. Yeah. You guys all are able to meet back up unless, Corvelle, there's something you would like to do first.
Well, there is a question I have, and even though I'm not, which is that this search in the library probably took hours, much longer than the jaunt to the garden, unless searching also took several hours.
Searching the grounds took at least an hour to find that, to sort of follow that pipe through the gardens, etc. We're gonna say that roughly this stuff took about the same amount of time, unless there's one other thing you would like to do, Mohaka.
Oh no, mostly I needed to do a quick, short rest and replenish.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of supporting people, but also I have my feat, which would involve others, whoever was with me at the time.
Yeah, I think that's fine. The three of you have a nice tea party in the garden.
Yeah.
I also
and I
didn't
think,
realize I was muted, so
oh no,
apologies.
as you're having this as well, I think, Chastity, you see a couple of fashionable young ladies strolling through the garden and just sort of complaining about the uncouth gardeners and saying how they really expected the construction to be further along, and this place is supposed to be such a marvel, and it's really quite a disappointment. The only exciting thing that's happened at all has been this murder. Sort of the tenor of the conversation you catch as they drift by.
Ooh, I like their tact.
Yeah, you see one of these ladies kind of strolling arm in arm, cast a glance at you and like give a sort of like to your outfit, like nice.
I nod back, appreciative, like appreciating her, appreciating me.
Can I catch up to Chastity? Is that cool?
Yeah, I think they were going out to the greenhouse, so you come upon them having a little sort of like picnic in the garden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you like to join us?
We have
I was just
party.
telling them. I was just regaling them on an old, one of our old adventures.
Like I would love to have some tea and lunch. I didn't get as much breakfast as I would have liked to.
We got a lot of small sandwich. Like a lot.
This place is not short on food. I'll give them that.
Nobles are gluttons for everything, food especially, and gossip.
Zozo has a teacup he's just holding by his long nail. Just sipping.
But yes, so during that short rest, everybody would get 8 temp HP. Sorry, believe.
Cool.
Sorry.
Cool. How much do we get?
8 temporary hit points.
Oh, it's always 8.
It's always
I
8.
knew that.
At a certain point in the tea party, I would try to pull Chastity aside, and I would be like, "Hey, listen, do you trust me?"
Yeah, yeah. Mostly.
I have a letter. Could you give it to Kian for me?
Sure. Is it a letter you wrote?
Yeah.
Where'd you get this letter from?
Yeah, I wrote it. He hands it to you, and it smells like perfume.
In this, what kind of perfume have you been wearing, Corvelle?
It's like, I try to keep up to date on what's fashionable. This is.
So then she gets into your, she like steps into your zone, and she kind of like does the finger walk up the collarbones, and she goes, "Are you lying to me, Corvelle?"
Are you magically making me not lie to you, or are you just asking me if I'm lying to you?
Oh, I'm asking you in a very
Sure.
seductive yet cold.
Yeah, threatening.
Yeah, it's seductively threatening.
Corvelle will try to lie to you.
Yeah, go ahead and make a deception check.
Should I roll? Okay.
Yeah. Chastity, you can make an insight check.
Muhaka is 100% observing this while sipping tea.
Yeah, I'm just picturing,
I got a
Zozo
21,
and Muhaka like peering over a
Fuck,
hedge.
really? Fuck, I got an
Oh,
18.
it's hot.
Muhaka's cup is empty. She's just doing the motions.
He's like, it's standard for messages between nobles to be doused in perfume so as to not smell like commoners. Just trust me, it will be suspicious if I hand it to him personally. If you give it to him, it will have much more impact.
I got an 18.
Yeah, so I think that you know that
And it was lying.
that Corvelle isn't necessarily telling you everything, but you don't think that he's lying to you.
All right, fine. I don't care either way what the truth is. You just know that I hate secrets between friends. I
don't
would have
think
done
that's true at all.
What? I totally would do this for you regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You're not there.
The more underhanded, the better.
You just hear it in your mind.
Yeah.
Belief
Yeah.
going, mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's just like the psychic link that all twins have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear my voice being like, yeah, sure.
So I guess unless we were planning to reconvene, I'll get up and go.
Yeah. I think you go to manage this errand. I think we can sort of sum up you getting in to see him. If you just make me a general persuasion check.
Mm. 14.
14. Yeah, I think, it takes you a little while to find exactly the right person to talk to. Are you just trying to get this, given to him, or do you want to give it to him personally?
Oh, I want to give it to him personally.
Yeah, you have to, wait for him to sort of come out of a meeting, but you kind of rush up to him. There's, he's sort of walking, clearly intent on going somewhere, and you sort of accidentally manage to run into him, walking down the sort of porticoed side of a building.
Cool. Oh, I have this letter for you.
Yes, of course. Is this about the case? Have you found anything else out?
It could be about the case.
Well, of course, I would be delighted. Thank you. You are welcome to send servants. You needn't trouble yourself.
Oh, I just wanted to check in see how you were doing. Also, if you wanted to peruse the letter now and ask me any questions you have about it, feel free.
Oh, is it
To
from
read
you?
it in front of me. Yes. No, it is from me. I'm just double checking, making sure that
Well,
there's
we
no questions.
can simply discuss whatever the contents of the letter are.
How can we? No, I like to write things down instead of having things spoken because I feel like it organizes my thoughts in a much more cohesive manner.
Chastity, I'm gonna need you to make a deception check.
Did we expect anything else?
No, we did
Please.
24.
Yes.
He says, Well, I suppose whatever makes you the most comfortable. Perhaps I should try this. I am very bad myself at expressing my thoughts in the moment sometimes.
Yeah.
I always feel I say the wrong thing, especially to Petra. Whew.
Exactly.
And he sort of
So
shakes his head. And he says, well, if it really would make you more comfortable, I suppose I could read it now.
Absolutely would. Thank you.
All right, he kind of opens the seal and starts reading it. Justin, what's in the letter?
So it says, "You're much too handsome for her. She seems like a bore anyway. And if you want to enjoy your last night of freedom, you should meet me in the gardens at midnight. XOXO, Chastity."
Oh, shit.
So Chastity,
How did you not see this coming?
as Keon is reading this letter, you see his eyebrows kind of like going up and up and up. His hair is quite short, so they don't go up into his hairline as mine do. But you kind of see him look at the letter and then look at you. He looks mostly confused, but also kind of angry. Just, what is the meaning of this?
I stand my ground, and mentally I'm thinking, I'm gonna fucking kill Corvelle.
You know that I am to be married.
And I kind of lean on the charm a little bit, and I say, so what's a little bit of premarital secrets between friends?
Madam, you and I do not know each other, I think, well enough to earn that honorific. And besides, I am not that kind of man.
Does he seem really, like, upset and, like, offended?
Make an insight
Like,
check.
does this... 12.
Yeah, he seems pretty offended. He also seems like he has no idea how to react. You see him kind of like, I think I need to write my own letter.
And I go, okay, perfect. Excellent. That is exactly the correct answer you should have had. And I snatch the letter out of his hand and I say, this was part of the investigation. We're just trying to rule out suspects to see if anyone has ulterior motives. I'm glad to see that true love does actually exist.
Wow.
I hope you are not writing such letters to Petra.
Damn.
You know, our detective work is nuanced and it gets the job done. And then I just spin on my heels and walk away. And I go looking for Corvelle.
Damn,
Yeah.
she pulled it out of a fire.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, well played. Well played.
I don't do this a lot on stream, but I think I'm going to give DM inspiration to both Justin and Nikki. So that was great.
I'm so glad that you made him read it in front.
Please do make a note of that. All right, so you guys all meet back up, I think, in Lady Petra's personal chambers. Sort of Zareen lets you into a little sitting room. And you can hear the sounds of things being shuffled and moved around. And finally, after a few minutes, Petra comes out, looking kind of flustered. She says, yes, you are all to accompany me for the cleansing ritual. I would feel safer if you were there, if as your suspicions suggest, I may be in danger. Sorry, I apologize. I thank you for your services thus far. And of course, if you do not feel that this would be the best step forward, we can simply find more guards or something, but after that creature, it seems they are not useful.
No.
No,
we
let's
can
get
help.
naked. Yes, let's get naked and help.
You're not getting naked.
It's a cleansing ritual?
You are not the one being cleansed.
We're not all being cleansed? It's not a group cleansing?
That's not really traditional. You're welcome to use the baths if you like.
I thought that was part of the invite.
Oh yes, of course. If you wish, I just, if there is danger, the whole armor and swords thing.
Oh, I don't need either of those in order to be deadly. In fact, they're magic.
Well, perhaps this is a skill you can teach me. She says, kind of with a little smile.
And I want to like wink at her and be like, I'll teach you many skills if you want.
And she kind of grins and kind of looks over at your belief and she says, maybe we hired the wrong sibling. And then she winks at you.
Yeah.
I'm just Proof and I are both glaring at you, and I say to her, Lady Petra, we are happy to assist you however you see best fit. Chastity, a word.
Oops, I have to go. I'm in trouble. And then I go off to my brother.
And she kind of giggles a little bit behind her hand. And as the two of you are talking, I think, Corvelle, you and Muhaka can both overhear Zareen as she steps up behind Petra and said, did you find it, my lady? And she goes, no, I didn't. And that sort of worried look flits back over her face after the little giggle that she was having with Chastity. But twins, you're having a chat, or are you just reprimanding?
Oh yeah, I think it's fairly. This is man number 38. Fancy, I think.
I don't know why you're so mad.
You seem to be trying to get me fired.
I'm not trying to get you fired. It's not my fault. I'm more fun than you.
I'm not, why are you here again?
To get up to shenanigans and hang out with you. We haven't bonded in a minute.
Oh, good. I've so missed the bond.
Besides, you know how I like to get my appetites met, and I've already had quite a few entrees this weekend.
Oh, goody. Yes, that's exactly what I want to be hearing from my sister. Now then, so turning back around to the rest of the room. Sorry.
Yeah, and Zareen kind of says, very well then, and sort of begins like giving you guys instructions in the actual like what's going to happen. You're not expected to really participate necessarily in the ritual aspect of it, just to sort of be there. Zareen does seem to insist, and it seems like she and Petra have sort of talked about this, that all of the gentlemen stay in the outer chamber, and only the ladies accompany her into the inner chamber for the sake of decorum.
Okay, and I definitely want to be getting in these pools now that I know that it's okay. It seems, because, like, I have mage armor, I have a magic pack sword, like, I don't need clothes.
You're welcome. Just fight in the nude.
Yeah.
I love it. Not that there won't be fighting, but if there were.
Point of order. Proof is not exactly male. Would you prefer that it stays with me, or is it allowed into the inner chamber?
Technically.
I think it's actually kind of, you asked this just as Proof has returned to you.
Yes, I speak of the devil.
Yeah. Kind of, as you say, kind of looks offended. Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse
you.
It's an in-joke.
As we excuse ourselves, I will say we'll be waiting right outside, and I'm sorry, but I couldn't help but overhearing. Is there something that you're missing that we could perhaps look for you?
Who do you ask that to, Lady Petra?
Probably Zareen.
Zareen. She kind of, if you pull her aside, she says, well, of course, it should be the least of her ladyship's worries, but, and of course, she keeps her room in such a frightful state. I'm surprised she can find anything, but she has been having trouble finding her father's journal.
Well, we will certainly make sure that we let you know if we find such a valuable and cherished item.
She says, I have my suspicions, but she will not hear them. And she got off.
Between you and I, who do you suspect?
I really shouldn't gossip, she says. Make a persuasion check.
This is the flirtiest group.
You're right. We shouldn't gossip. Gossip would be for those below our station. But who
all right.
do you suspect?
If you said that, I'm gonna give you advantage on this persuasion check because that's the exact right tack to take with this particular character.
All right. Okay. And you said persuasion?
Yes.
All right. Let's see.
Sorry, flirting. Muhaka does not.
So
capable.
14 and I got a 14.
Okay. You've been developing a good relationship with this character, so that's decent enough. And kind of, well, I suppose you are helping with the investigation. It says the last person that she was showing the journal to was Sir Jethan. It wouldn't surprise me if he wanted a closer look at it, but she will not hear a word against him. And she sort of shrugs huffily.
It's like, think of it no more.
I feel so relieved that a gentleman such as yourself is handling this, Sir Corvelle. And
Corvelle almost doesn't know how to react to that part of it, because that doesn't...
So after your sort of deportment lesson with Zareen, you are all led down to the bathhouse, which is in sort of the subterranean part of this wing of the castle. This area has been restored. Belief and Chastity, it's possible that you would have been down here before it is available to be used by people staying in the castle, as you are. And you've been here the longest. You come down sort of through a little antechamber. You step in from the hallway. Immediately, the air grows warmer and more humid. And then you step through into a chamber. There's a large sort of stone table for relaxing in the steam. There are side chambers where massages can be given. Various couches for just sort of relaxing in the atmosphere. And beyond that, the room with the large central pool, and a couple of side pools. The water, there's that smell in the air of like hot spring mineral sort of smell.
Altering.
Although
So one mega fountain.
That's right. This whole room is a fountain.
It's great.
Boy, oh boy.
Quick question.
Uh-huh.
How long does this ritual take?
A few
hours.
hours. It's a few hours. It's basically like taking a bath and like saying some traditional prayers and anointings with oils and things. And it's also just like kind of like relaxing. And you've heard Zareen also was like, I feel this is important as a like means to allow her ladyship to sort of take her mind off of the horrible events that have been happening to her.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And before we all split up, I will mention that we have been watched. We were watched at the gardens. I don't know by who. I don't know when or for how long. But we were watched.
You think a busy body?
Perhaps. I don't know exactly. All I know is that someone was eavesdropping while we were having our conversation. Given everything that has happened, I worry that whoever is involved in this may have been keeping an eye on us. Our investigations have not exactly been secretive.
Yeah, could be killer, not just a busy body.
So, be aware and keep your eyes peeled, and we must be careful about where we have our conversations and with whom.
Well, I guess we can rule out the Jason since he was with Belief.
Do we know that?
Well, actually, wait. 3 things real quick. Thing the first, proof. Did Jathan take anything with him from the library?
He kind of shakes his head.
Interesting.
Pacing. You hear him say. Pacing.
Pacing?
Painting.
Pacing.
Pacing.
He was agitated? Oh, that tracks. Yeah.
Measure? You hear him say.
Oh. Wait, like as in he was pacing like from a specific location. What was he pacing from, and where was he pacing towards?
You seem kind of shrugged. Disorganized.
Interesting. Perhaps if we have time later, you can show me where he was specifically. But anyway, thing the second. Corvelle, what was that Zurin was saying?
That Jathan was seen speaking with Lady Petra about the book, and they seemed to be discussing it in a upset manner. Is that correct?
No, just that the last person Petra had shown the book to was Jathan.
Okay, gotcha.
This is interesting. Jathan seems upset, or what? Not upset. It's the wrong word. He seems sort of
Murderous.
Uptight.
bitter actually. Toward...
Murderous. You didn't believe you said us at the end. You think it too.
So Corvelle, bitter towards Petra.
Perhaps he was thinking humorous.
There's nothing humorous about that man.
No, you're right.
Zozo, you're taking this seriously. So I believe that
Paladin seemed bad.
yeah. Well, he seems specifically like almost as though it seems almost as though he thinks that Petra has a title that should be his. It's quite possible that if he thought that journal had information about their heritage that he could exploit, it seems as though he has reason that he might want to take it. Possibly related to, I don't know, there was pull out the note from the library that says like sword on it, underlined like 8 times. I mean, like, it appears as though somebody is looking for something. I'm guessing it might be some sort of heirloom or artifact or...
Mohaka, would you like to make a history check?
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Zozo, you may also make a history check if you would like.
I don't know. Let's see.
We can confer
Wait.
with each other.
But is this art history?
No, but you're familiar. You are the next most familiar with sort of the legends surrounding this family and this place.
All right, I've got a -1, but I'm going for it.
You know,
Yeah.
if you try
You know
hard and
what?
believe in yourself.
See, I
anything is
believe in you.
possible.
I am.
Oh,
sorry, that was a plus.
That's okay.
so that's a 10.
And you rolled a 14, Ainsley.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Ainsley, I think, or rather Zozo, sorry. Zozo has definitely heard of. I mean, you have seen a lot of depictions of Elsadon, and he is usually depicted with a sword and a shield. And you have heard in some of the legends that just talk about the sword of Elsadon. Not necessarily that it had tons of special properties or anything, but it's mentioned in a couple of like the stories and usually depicted in kind of a specific way. So he normally is depicted with his sword and his mirrored shield.
Sword kind of big deal. Elsadon. Kill a lot of stuff with this sword. Paladin, bad paladin. Zozo Ba'ab, good paladin. Other paladin, he too worry about bloodline. Want to be Elsadon guy. Maybe obsessed Elsadon sword.
See, that's sort of what I was thinking.
Well, it seems that I should have a conversation with him sometime soon. Because while the rest of you are very good at talking with people, you sometimes don't actually care what they say or think.
Well, yeah.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I wasn't listening. All right, and sorry. Thing the third real quick before I forget. Anyway, yeah, sorry. And one last thing, just about the sword and the shield and all that. I'm going to use minor illusion to create a small, like, sort of scale replica of that carving from the library to show to the people who know history, who isn't me, and say, I'm guessing that this is a representation maybe of Elsadon fighting whatever that creature was that he's particularly well known for.
Another
Monster Mom.
Monster Mom.
Monster
Mother
mommy.
monster.
That's exactly right.
Yes,
the mother
that's-
of monsters
The mother
Um,
of monsters.
for our viewers.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, that's the one. So just for confirmation's sake, this was a carving that was in the library. My guess is that's what this is representing. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, that seems
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
self-evident.
And is the
Monster Mom?
does he have he has the sword?
That's correct.
Interesting. All right. Just wanted confirmation. There's a sword here.
So
I'm
I
not-
agree. Go ahead.
Is this post ritual?
Oh no, you guys I think are
No.
having this conversation like sitting in the steam room, like chilling.
The antechamber.
Well, I mean, not them. Oh,
There's
Yeah,
there's
we
an
were separated.
external room where you like still wear your like clothes and stuff so they can all be there. In fact, I can show you if that would be helpful.
I want to be
Oh,
in
yes.
the hot springs.
Yeah, and I think it's at this point that the next part is sort of called, sorry. Trying to do too many things at once. There we go.
perfectly fine.
Ah.
Also, while we're in there, I cast a spell which lasts an hour. Enhanceability perception.
Ooh, on whom?
Wisdom. On myself.
On yourself. All right, so you give yourself Owl's Wisdom. What does that look like?
She's like, takes her finger and starts like along her eyes. She just traces things and kind of as a focus that guides the magical energies, and you again see the glowing of writing along her eyes. They kind of resemble owl, but just in the
Mhm.
native language, arcane runes along her
Nice.
eyes, and then they glow for a moment and then fade. And now she's got like owlish. Normally her eyes don't have any sort of noticeable like pupils or anything like that, but now there's like an inner glow that's like super wide, like a
Mhm.
super dilated inner glow.
Awesome. Yeah, you cast that as Chastity, Zarin, and Petra walk through, and there are a few other servants in here just sort of like facilitating. You walk through and into the main bathing chamber while you gentlemen are left to your own devices in the exterior chamber. Yeah, the pool is delightfully warm and inviting. Chastity, I know you want in on that, Muhaka.
Yeah.
Are you interested in taking the waters?
I mean, okay, fine, but there's really not much to see or do here.
It's up
Her
to you.
armor
You
is
don't
actually-
have to.
I know, but why not? It's not like it makes much of a difference. She'll do it just to, I guess, fit in
Sure.
and not. But it's actually very interesting. You can see that integrated with her armor are just like very thick strips of leather that look very protective around her torso. They look like they've been kind of added on, not part of her original design.
So she's waterproof?
No, she has armor integrated into her body.
Oh, cool. Cool. Ooh, Muhaka, is that new?
Well, it was an improvement of the one I had when we were traveling together.
I love it.
A little
Clever.
nicer.
Clever.
Yeah, so you guys are sort of paying witness, enjoying the water. It's very warm, it's very relaxing. It's a beautiful chamber. It's even in the exterior chamber, it is tiled all over, and there are large arches. The ceiling is sort of barrel vaulted. Everything is in white and blue and gold, tiny mosaic tiles. This room has definitely been spiffed up. And in the outer chamber, there are a couple of other guests. There are a few people flitting in and out of the massage chambers, but as you're sort of going on, they're sort of cleared out for the purposes of this. And you three ladies in the interior chamber see Zarin, going through the chants. Occasionally, she will ask you to like pour water over Petra or something like that. It's very sort of just calm and relaxing and meditative. And And it's been going on for about 20 minutes when the next step is for Petra to submerge herself. And the two of you are watching as this happens. And
Oh dear.
you see Petra vanish beneath the water, sort of dunk herself under. And then a moment passes. And she doesn't come back up.
Well, dang. I mean, I'll go forward and try to find where in the world she is.
That was your professional opinion?
Yeah, so
I knew the
professional
water was
opinion.
bad.
you walk forward, Mohaka. Go ahead and make me a perception check.
Alrighty.
Oh, this is the wrong music, sorry. Need different, tenser music.
There we go.
Tense the tension. It is a 21.
21.
That's Tensor's music.
Yeah. I think-
22. 22.
You look down and you can see Petra under the water, kind of struggling with something. Her arms are kind of like weirdly pinned to her sides. And she's just sort of like flailing, and her mouth is like partially open and her eyes are wide. She's probably about like 3 feet under the surface of the water, and she looks up at you and with the look on her face of pure terror.
I mean, try to get her out.
Still wrong.
And I will yell at Chastity to come help.
Yeah, I'm already moving.
Yeah. The two of you sort of run forward and pull her up. But as you pull her up out of the surface of the water clings all around her. And you also hear Zareen kind of gasp. Looking at that, and I think, Mahaka, you turn one way to look at Zareen, and Chastity, you turn the other way to look at a servant who has also just dropped a bucket and is screaming. And out of the mist that's floating up off of the pools, you begin to see tiny winged forms barreling in towards you. And as you're sort of like pulling at Lady Petra, trying to get her stabilized, the water that's surrounding her pulls off in this sort of serpentine form that looks, I think, Chastity, straight at you, and out of the front of it just forms a screaming face.
So I scream back a la Brandon Fraser in The Mummy.
That's actually exactly what to
Like
picture.
the
It's like
right
the
move.
mummy, but made out of
Perfect.
water. Yes.
Nice.
You scream back. Gentlemen, in the outer chamber, you hear a bunch of gasps and screams simultaneously.
But before that, I like to just picture Corvelle just like ladling back with like one of those wooden spoons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you
Just
hear
like,
this,
what? They're taking so long. What are they doing in there?
and I assume you start running for the door.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, and with this sort of frozen tableau of the struggling Lady Petra, this screaming face made of water, and these mysterious winged figures in the mist, we are going to end this episode, and we will come back next week and roll initiative.
Very cool.
Exciting.
Everyone who has been watching, thank you so much for sticking around and playing with us. We really, really appreciate you being here. We hope that you will come back with us for the next episode, which will be next week, same time, same place. And stick around, we're gonna raid someone awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for gaming with us. Thank you to my lovely players for gaming. And we will see all of you guys next week. All right. Bye.
Bye.